I always thought retirement would be peaceful. A little fishing, a little woodwork, maybe a garden. I never imagined I'd spend it teaching a power-hungry HOA president where her authority ends. About 25 years ago, I was a civil engineer and land developer. I spent 3 years working with the county to turn a stretch of old farmland into a cozy wooded subdivision called Oak Hollow Estates. I drew up every lot, planned every access road, even added a few private driveways that cut through my personal 5-acre reserve at the back of the property, my slice of heaven. When the final plot sold out, I kept my reserve lot and built my dream cabin there. The new homeowners formed an HOA, fine by me. I didn't mind their newsletters about mailbox colors or flower beds. I stayed out of it. My land, my driveway, none of it fell under the HOA's jurisdiction. But then Pam got elected president. Pam had moved in 2 years ago and decided Oak Hollow should look like a fancy country club. She started sending me reminder letters about my overgrown driveway, the unsightly canoe by my pond, and how my no entry, private drive sign didn't match the neighborhood's aesthetic. I ignored her at first. The sign had been there for 20 years, and it stopped random drivers from treating my private drive like a shortcut, but ignoring Pam was apparently the worst crime of all. One Friday, I got home from fishing to find Pam and two HOA board members standing inside my fence line, arguing with my wife about the sign. They'd brought a ladder and some tools and were threatening to remove it themselves. Pam pointed at me like she'd caught a burglar. "This sign violates our HOA signage standards. It has to come down immediately," she snapped. I calmly asked if she had a warrant or any clue whose land she was standing on. She rattled off a section of the HOA bylaws. I pointed to my deed. The private drive and the land around it had never been ceded to the HOA. In fact, I designed the entire neighborhood map. When she scoffed, I invited her to my office inside the cabin. I pulled out the original plat survey maps and the county approval letter from when I developed Oak Hollow. I showed her the easements, the private driveway designation, and the perpetual right-of-way that made my land completely separate. Her face went from smug to pale real quick. This can't be right," she muttered. "Oh, it's right," I said. "I wrote it." But Pam being Pam, she doubled down. The next day she called the county claiming my sign was illegal. The same county office that approved the development, the same staff who still remembered working with me. They called me laughing, asking if I wanted to press trespassing charges instead. I didn't yet, but I did file a formal notice barring HOA board members from entering my private property without written consent. Then, just to make my point clear, I had a custom metal no-entry private drive sign made, 10 feet wide, bolted into stone pillars. It looks beautiful if I say so myself. Pam had a meltdown when she saw it. She threatened to fine me daily until I complied. I politely reminded her that her HOA rules stop at my gate, and I designed it that way on purpose. She tried to rally the board against me. They sided with me. Turns out no one wants to pay legal fees when the developer holds the original easements in hand. A few months later, Pam stepped down for personal reasons. Now the new HOA president leaves me alone, though he does send a Christmas card every year. I still fish in my pond, park my canoe wherever I want, and smile every time I see that big shiny sign. Funny thing about designing a neighborhood, you know exactly where the lines are drawn.